Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Wednesday morning. We're back with another live show to bring you all of the latest news, talk, all of that good stuff. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're just about to hit 40,000 subscribers. You can do it by... there's a button in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. It should say subscribe. Go and do that right now. And make sure to like the video as well. Let's try and get 500 likes on today's episode. So on the show today, we will of course be reacting to Marcus Rashford's interview with Henry Winter, where effectively he says that he's ready for a new challenge. So we'll be reacting to that. We'll also be reacting to Manchester United's pursuit of a 17-year-old Wonderkid who is being touted as a potential replacement for Marcus Rashford. Lots of other bits to get into. We'll be talking a bit about the Tottenham Hotspur game tomorrow, a couple of other things as well. As always, I invite you to have your say on all things Manchester United in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. I always like to read all the comments. Right, let's start with this Marcus Rashford story then, shall we? Because I've got a question for you, and I think it will hopefully engage the community. It will get everyone interacting. And I want to know, how much do you think Marcus Rashford is worth in the current market? Let me know in the comment section. How much? 20, 30, 40, 50 million? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. I'll answer the question first. So obviously you've got to bear in mind that he's on massive wages. He's on 325,000 a week, which is vast. He's 27, so he's not that old. I think he's in his prime right now, or at least he should be in his prime. He's just turned 27. He's probably still got, what, 6-7 years left at the top level if he gets his head back in the game. So he's, the age isn't a problem, I don't think. 27 is not old. If you think that Harry Kane moved to Bayern Munich last summer for 100 million and he was 30 years of age. So the age isn't an issue. I think the only minor issue is his wage. But the more I've thought about it over the last kind of 24 hours or so, I actually think there'll be quite a lot of clubs who are interested in Marcus Rashford, and they'll see it as an opportunity. We'll talk about the clubs that I think he'll be interested in a minute. But in relation to the transfer fee, I would say anything from 30 million at the very least, anywhere up to about 50 million. That would be my kind of ballpark figure. 30 million minimum, 50 million maximum. I would probably be happy with... I don't know. It's difficult. I've answered the question anyway. I think he's worth about 30 to 50 million. 50 million if it was maybe a Premier League rival, maybe a team like Bayern Munich, they might give you 35, 40, something like that, or a PSG. So I would say that 30 to 50 million would be my valuation for him. If it was like an Arsenal or a Chelsea, I would be trying to go for 50. If it was a team in Italy or maybe a team in Spain, maybe you go for a little bit less because obviously they don't generally have as much money. But in relation to clubs that could be interested in him, I'll bring you the quotes in a minute and we can run through what Marcus Rashford has actually said. But let's start with that. So Marcus Rashford had an interview yesterday with Henry Winter, who is a very, very well-respected journalist here in the UK. Marcus was at his primary school that he used to attend when he was obviously a child. He was there giving out presents. And he invited Henry Winter along with him, who was a journalist, to document it, to put out a positive PR piece on him. He's at his primary school, he's handing out presents. Great, that's a good thing to do. So Henry Winter accompanied him and did a massive interview. And there was loads and loads of bits discussed. Marcus says he thinks he's misunderstood by the Man United fan base, blah, blah, blah. But the main key quote was Henry Winter asks Marcus Rashford, he says, are you going to stay at Manchester United? And Marcus Rashford replies saying, I think I'm ready for a new challenge, which obviously implies that he wants to leave, right? You don't say, are you going to stay at the club? And your response is, I think I'm ready for a new challenge if you want to stay. He clearly understands that the fans are no longer on his side, which I think is widely agreed, because his response to that was that he feels the fans misunderstand him, which I don't agree with. I mean, I get he's got off-field issues going on in his personal life, which obviously I feel for him about, but nothing he does or none of the way he acts on the pitch makes me think that he relates to the fans anymore. I don't see it. And I think, there's still a lot of people who are clinging on to this Rashford hope just because he was born in Manchester, and I just don't buy into it. Like, just because someone's born in Manchester doesn't give them the divine right to stay at Manchester United their whole career. If they're not putting in the effort, and they don't seem like they care, then they should be moved on. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter where they were born. It doesn't matter if they were born in Manchester, if they were born in Barcelona, if they were born in, I don't know, wherever, Australia. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to me. Because, if anything, if you really want to argue this point, if anything, the fact that he's from Manchester means that he should be scrutinised more, because he should be showing that he loves the club. He's a boyhood Manchester United fan, blah, blah, blah. And then for somebody to not be behaving in the right way, who is a boyhood Manchester United fan, born around the corner of the stadium, whatever, right? That's even worse, I think. But anyway, let's move on from that. So Henry Winter's obviously got this interview, really, really interesting piece. You can go and read it on Henry Winter's. I think he put it up on his Twitter, but you can read the full-length article somewhere else. Marcus Rashford effectively is looking for a new challenge. He apparently, this has come out from someone else since that interview went out, that apparently Marcus Rashford is looking at Spain as his preferred destination. In relation to the Spanish clubs, there's Barcelona, obviously there's Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. I can't see anybody else out of those top three being able to afford him. And I can't see Real Madrid going for him. They've got Vinny, they've got Rodrigo, they've got, some unbelievable talents on their wing. Barcelona, they've got Lamal, they've got Rafinha, who's done really well this season, so I can't really see them going for him either. Atletico Madrid obviously don't have maybe as many top quality players in that position, and I guess arguably in the past, Real Madrid have bought some quite big name players. They bought Conor Gallagher last season from Chelsea, and obviously an English player. And there is this kind of current trend of English players going off to play in other leagues. Obviously Conor Gallagher's done it. You've got other people around Europe who've gone off in recent years and gone and played in other top European leagues. But I personally think the most likely option for Marcus Rashford is either Bayern Munich. I think obviously Vincent Kompany will know Marcus Rashford very well, obviously from his time managing in England and obviously from his time playing at Manchester City. Obviously Harry Kane's there, Eric Dyer's there. There's quite a few English players at Bayern Munich already, and I think Marcus Rashford would actually do really well in the Bundesliga. The spotlight would be taken off him. Obviously Bayern Munich are a massive club, but on the global stage, Bayern Munich and Manchester United is completely uncomparable, I think. Manchester United is on like a whole nother level to Bayern Munich. I know Bayern Munich are a big club, don't get me wrong, but the scrutiny around Manchester United is on a whole nother level. Whereas Bayern Munich, other than last season, they win the league every year. They always have a good run in the Champions League. They usually win the German Cup. It's pretty smooth sailing for Bayern Munich usually. They have the most money. They have the most pull in the Bundesliga. Obviously, I know Bayern Leverkusen did well last season, but I think from my understanding is this season, Bayern Munich are doing really, really well. Yeah, they're top of the table at the moment by 4 points, 7 points ahead of third place and 4 points ahead of second place. So they're doing really well, Bayern Munich. Obviously, they're doing great things in the Bundesliga. But I could see him going to Bayern Munich. And obviously, the other thing as well with Bayern Munich is the wages wouldn't be an issue there, because Bayern Munich pay massive amounts of money to their players. If you look at their wages, right? So let's have a quick look here. So Harry Kane currently earns €500,000 a week, which is obviously astronomical. It's way more than what Marcus Rashford earns. Let me just change it to pounds just to make it easier. Yeah, so Harry Kane currently earns £400,000 a week at Bayern Munich. Manuel Neuer earns £332,000. Thomas Müller earns £325,000. And obviously Thomas Müller's contract expires in June, so he's going to be going. Kimmich's contract expires in June. He's probably going to be going. And Leroy Sané's contract expires in June. He's probably going to be going. So you've got three players there at Bayern Munich who are all currently paid around £300,000 to £350,000 a week, right? All of their contracts are expiring in June of this year. So you can see how a player like Marcus Rashford could slot into a team like Bayern Munich, obviously with three of their biggest players on their biggest salary leaving at the end of this season. So I think that's one very likely destination for him. The other two that I've been thinking about over the last kind of 24 hours or so is Chelsea. I think obviously Chelsea have vast amounts of money. Mudrik's just been suspended for potential doping. So there's a strong chance that Chelsea will be looking to strengthen in the wide areas. And yeah, I think Rashford would do well at Chelsea. I think, again, it's a very different pressure to Manchester United. Yes, Chelsea are a big club, but they don't have the same scrutiny as a Manchester United do, you know? I think it would be actually a really good move for him. And then if you look at Chelsea's wage structure, because again, this is another good a good way of kind of comparing it. Their current highest earning player is Reece James, who's on 250 grand a week. So Marcus Rashford would probably be, break their wage budget a little bit, but I still think it could work. But then the other option I thought as well is Arsenal. I think Arsenal would be a really good destination for Marcus Rashford. Again, it doesn't have the same pressure as Manchester United does. They've won one trophy, Arsenal, in 5 years. It's 5 years this week since Mikel Arteta joined Arsenal, and they've won one FA Cup, and that's it. And there's not really any pressure on Mikel Arteta, is there? Imagine if Man United had a manager for 5 years, I think they've spent nearly £600-700 million, right? And they only won one trophy. The manager would have been sacked years ago. Think about Ollie, right? Ollie finished, I think, second. He finished third. He got to a Europa League final, blah, 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 blah. He was sacked after 2.5 years because he didn't win anything, So there's a very different expectation at a team like Arsenal. And obviously they've got some pretty high earners as well, like Kai Havertz, Jesus, Declan Rice. They're all earning around £300,000 a week. So you could see how he could slot into a team like that. I feel a little bit more positive about it all now, I think he could definitely... I think he definitely could get a good move. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. How much do you think Marcus Rashford is worth? Let me know what you think. And everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and hit the like button. We're trying to get to 500 likes by the end of this video. There's more than 300 people in the chat already. So if you go and do that right now, we will hit that target. And again, if this is your first time watching, we are getting closer and closer by the day to the 40,000 new milestone. So go and subscribe. I've just dropped a link in the chat. 40,000 subscribers is the target. Go and do that right now. Right, let's keep on the topic of Marcus Rashford because we've got some more news that came out this morning saying that apparently Marcus Rashford did not take part in training on Monday because he's unwell. It goes on to say that the club policy is for those who are unwell to travel to Carrington to be seen by a doctor who judged him to have a high temperature. Now, this, to me, gave me some red flags. And people are going to be like, why? He's ill. So, Monday, we're told that Marcus Rashford had to go home because he was unwell. Fine, people get unwell. I've got no issue. I'm not doubting whether he was sick or not. But the bit that confuses me with this story is, so Marcus Rashford is deemed too unfit, too unwell, too sick, whatever you want to call it, to be able to be around other people on the Monday, and he's sent home. Tuesday morning, he's heading off to a primary school to hand out presents. That doesn't make sense to me. And I think that maybe Manchester United knew that this story was coming, or there was, still some sort of fallout going on between Manchester United and Marcus Rashford. I assume he's probably just been told that they don't want him there anymore and that they want rid of him, and he's been told to leave. Hence why he's done this interview. He's put himself in the shop window. This interview with Henry Winter, saying that he's ready for a new challenge, puts the power back in his court. It puts the ball back in his court because before that, the ball was in Ruben Amorim's court. Marcus Rashford's stock price was going down. As soon as he was left out of that Manchester derby, as soon as Ruben Amorim said he wasn't picked because he wasn't training properly, the brand of Marcus Rashford was going down rapidly. Would we all agree there? Now, what's the best way to overcome that? You do an interview with one of the most respected journalists in the UK, Henry Winter. You come out saying that I'm ready for a new challenge. He's not saying that Man United have told me that they want to sell me, which is probably the truth. He comes out and said, I'm ready for a new challenge. I want something different, blah, blah, blah. So it makes it all about him, which is fine. I honestly have no problem with it whatsoever. And I actually respect Marcus Rashford and his team a lot for doing this, because if in the end this facilitates him getting his move away from Manchester United, I think we can all agree it's the best thing for everybody. Maybe we'll live to regret this. Maybe he'll go to Bayern Munich, they'll win the Champions League, he'll get the Ballon d'Or, and we'll be sat here looking stupid. Maybe that will happen. But it's a massive if. And I think when you've got a player who's clearly unhappy, he doesn't even suit the team either. Remember that, okay? Put everything else aside. Forget about him sulking on the pitch, him going out drinking before, training and missing training, the Belfast situation. Forget all of that stuff. Can you honestly tell me that Marcus Rashford suits playing in that front three in a Ruben Amorim system? He doesn't. Marcus Rashford's best position is on that left wing, pretty much on the touchline. bombing it down the pitch. That's where he's best suited. Whereas Ruben Amorim's front three, the left attacking midfielder and the right attacking midfielder are inverted. They play really close to the striker. So you don't really have wingers. Your wingers are your left wing back and your right wing back. And we know for a fact that Marcus Rashford wouldn't be able to play as a wing back because he doesn't put in the defensive work. So we've ruled out the left wing back or the right wing back position because he doesn't offer enough defensively. And then further up the pitch, in that left attacking midfield role and the right attacking midfield role, that's not his position. So when you look at it from any perspective, put all level of emotion aside, is Marcus Rashford the right fit for that front three for Ruben Amorim? No, of course he's not. And then when you add all of the rest of it in, 325 grand a week, they're not training hard enough, like, there's not really even an argument. And I see people on Twitter who are like, oh, it's a disgrace, we're getting rid of a local born and bred lad. It's like, what does that even mean? You know, like, every team has to sell their youth players. And, you know, we need to raise funds. And selling Marcus Rashford would be 100% profit, obviously because he's come through the youth academy, and would save us vast amounts of money in wages, which is a massive problem. We know that. We know that Manchester United are in a mess at the moment. He's currently paid £15.6 million a season. He's got 4 years left on his deal. So over the next 4 years, if he was to stay, we would pay roughly £62 million to Marcus Rashford. So let's say, for argument's sake, we get 30 million for Rashford, which I think is the very low end. You'd get 30 million, 100% profit, because there's been no transfer fee paid coming through the youth academy. And then you'd get around £62 million worth of wages saved. So nearly 90 to 100 million, say, over 4 years. I mean, that alone, is Marcus Rashford worth 100 million to us over 4 seasons? Does he offer £25 million a season's worth of value? No, of course he doesn't. So the argument's quite simple, really. And I don't know. There are obviously some people who still really want him to stay, but I think they're just holding on to this whole thing that, oh, he's from Manchester, he should stay. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens, but it's not looking particularly well. No, it is looking actually quite good. I think this is great that this came out, so I have no issue with it. Let's see. But just to say as well, right, I've got no hard feelings towards Rashford, and I respect him a lot for doing this interview, because effectively he's accepting that his future isn't at Manchester United. He's putting himself in the shop window. So yeah, that I think it's great. I do. The other option I wanted to throw into the chat is this. Is there a world, let me know what you think about this one. Is there a world where Manchester United try and do a swap deal with Napoli for Victor Osman? Maybe. I mean, again, that's just a theory. Obviously, Osman wants to leave Napoli. To be honest, I don't think I would take Victor Osman at Manchester United anymore. I think that, again, a bit like Rashford, he has too many off-field issues. And I think that, yeah, I don't think so. Not for me. Johnny says, wasn't Brandon Williams from Manchester too? I don't really get your point there. Brandon Williams and Marcus Rashford are two completely different players. Brandon Williams was a squad player at best, and that's probably being kind, who I think was injured for about a year, 2 years. And then I think he got all sorts of weird things were happening with him off the pitch, weren't they? Brandon Williams doesn't even have a club now, you know. He's a free agent and nobody signed him. He's without a club. So you can't really compare Brandon Williams to Marcus Rashford. Obviously, Marcus Rashford has been the poster boy for Manchester United for the last probably 5 years, hasn't he? Whereas Brandon Williams was just a squad player. And think about it like this, right? We got rid of McTominay in the summer. Obviously, he wasn't born in Was McTominay born in Manchester? Let me have a look. He came through the youth academy. It's the same principle, isn't it? The whole point is that some people are upset that we're selling our youth prospects. But I wanted to bring this into the show, actually. Interestingly enough, I was at a game at Old Trafford a couple of months ago, and I found myself talking to one of the Old Trafford stewards, and he said he'd been working for Manchester United for about 40 years, right? And, you know, he was born in Manchester, blah, blah, blah. And I got myself talking to him, and I said, what do you think about the whole Rashford situation? And he said immediately he has to go. And the point I'm making here is that there's this whole perception that there's this hate agenda against Rashford, and it's all from people who aren't from Manchester, and they need to protect the local lad and stuff. But he said that most people he speaks to who are local people, he was a lot strongly worded than he needs to go. He was visibly quite upset with how Rashford's been acting, and he said, he's a disgrace, blah blah blah. So yeah, I think the best thing for everybody is just for Rashford to move on and to go somewhere else. And I wish him all the best. I have no hard feelings against him. It would only become a problem if he was like, I'm just going to run down my contract. I'm going to sit on the bench. I'm going to earn my 16 million a year. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to take your money. Like that would then be a problem for me. But he's clearly being very proactive here. He's putting out the story saying that he's effectively wants to leave and he wants a new challenge. And I've got no problem with that at all. But yeah, obviously let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Somebody's saying that Gaio Carrer's price has dropped to 60 million now. I didn't know that. Fair enough. But let's talk a little bit about this Wonderkid who Manchester United are looking at. So the guy's name is Naipan. We played against him in the preseason tour. He is a midfielder, plays for Rosenborg. And the story this morning is that apparently Manchester United have now moved close to signing Rosenborg midfielder Naipan. It says United have intensified their pursuit ahead of a January move and have made progress on a deal. It says there is an increasing possibility that he will become Ruben Amorim's first signing. So the kid's only 17. He's very young. He's one for the future. Anybody who's ever played Football Manager will obviously know this guy's name. I'll be honest, other than the game against Rosenborg in the summer, the preseason game, I've not really seen that much of him. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I've watched lots of videos. He is a Manchester United fan, if that means anything to you. He's played 28 times so far this season, and he's got 15 goals and assists. So he's averaging a goal and assist every other game, a little bit more than every other game. So it's a good return. But obviously, remember, he is playing in the Norwegian league, which is not the Premier League. It's a lot less than... it's a lesser league, realistically. He can play as a central midfielder, as an attacking midfielder, or as a centre forward. He would most likely operate in one of those front three positions in Ruben Amorim's team. So either the left attacking midfielder or the right attacking midfielder. That's his kind of preferred position. I think it would be a good signing. Is it one that's going to take us from 13th to top 4? Probably not, but it's definitely one for the future. And I think at this point, we need to, focus our efforts on signing young, hungry players like Naipan, young, hungry players like Ahmad, young, hungry players like Lenny Yoro. These Manuel Ugarte, like players in their early 20s or younger who see Manchester United as a massive opportunity. They come here to create their legacy. That's what we need to go for, because in the past, under the Glazers, our transfer policy was always to sign players where their legacy was already created. Manchester United was just another part of their story. You think of Casemiro, you think of Cavani, you think of Falcao. Like, all of these players had incredible careers. Di Maria, like, they all had massive careers before they came to Manchester United. And we all knew that, people like Di Maria, etc., came to Manchester United for one thing and one thing only, and that was for money. And that's what we need to stay away from. Whereas somebody like this Naipan guy, apparently he's a Manchester United fan. He wants to come to Manchester United, only 17 years of age. Wages would be not a problem. He's on a very small amount of money. So at Rosenborg, apparently he's only currently earning, where is it? He's currently only earning about €1,500 a week. 3,000 euros a week, which is not that much, is it? But just to be very, very clear, this is a kid with potential. He might come to Manchester United and it might not work. There's no guarantee here. He's not the finished article yet. He turns 18 tomorrow, actually. So he'll be 18 tomorrow, which is interesting. So he's 17 at the moment. He'll turn 18 tomorrow. He's got the experience. There are some other clubs who are interested in him, just to give you the full report. Apparently Bayern Leverkusen are interested in him, which, is interesting. But it seems like Manchester United want to go ahead with this deal. They're prioritising this deal. Transfer fee wise, it's kind of hard to predict, isn't it? Because realistically, with a player like this, you're paying for potential. I'm reading a story here that apparently they've put an £83 million price tag on him. That's just ridiculous. I would say 20, 30 million at the absolute most. And even then, it's still a risk. Because from all the stuff I've seen, all the stuff I've read, They say that he's very talented and that he does well in the Norwegian league, but a lot of people say that they don't think he would even be ready to kind of play in the first team yet, and that he'd need to be like slowly brought in. It's not like you're bringing a player, I don't know, a Musiala or someone like that who's going to immediately go into the team, But I think he would be a good signing, not for 83 million. That's ridiculous. I think 20, 30 million, probably with some add-ons. We've got Ellen in the chat, who is from Norway, I believe. She says, Naipan is Norwegian. He is small but smart. He is 17 and has played for the first team in Rosenborg for 2 years already. There you go. That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, when we played them in the summer, remember we played Rosenborg in a friendly, he absolutely destroyed Casemiro. He was unbelievable. And he was only 17 at that point. So, yeah, I think he's a good option, but is he going to take us from 13th to 4th or above now? Probably not. But, at the end of the day, we know that Ineos's policy is to bring in younger players and to kind of, that's the method, But it would have to be for the right price. 20, 30 million pounds, maybe with some add-ons. That would be like my kind of level. But again, obviously it's not up to me. That's just my kind of take on it. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat this morning. Somebody says, congratulations to Garnacho for winning the Puskas 2024 award. Yes, so if anybody didn't see, Garnacho's bicycle kick against Everton has just won the award for the Puskas award, which is like the best goal. So yeah, congratulations to Garnacho. People in the chat are saying, what about Gaio Keres? I mean, Gaio Keres wouldn't be a January deal. Naipan would probably be in January. That's what's being reported. Whereas Gaio Keres would be summer, definitely. I would be very surprised if Man United went for Gaio Keres in January. Very, very surprised, because it's going to cost you 60 million or more, and we don't have that money at the moment. Even if Rashford leaves, I don't think we'd go for Gaio Keres now, but we'll wait and see. But I am going to wrap the video up. Thank you very much for watching today's show. I really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a thumbs up. Give the video a like before you leave. It really helps to show the video to more people. And if this is your first time watching the show today, please go and subscribe as well. Let's try and get to 40,000. We're very close now. So yeah, tell a friend, whatever, share the link with somebody. Let's try and get to the 40,000 mark. Have a lovely day, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow morning. If anything breaks, I will go live. Speak to you all soon.